Hello and welcome to today's video training. My name is Isaac Mashman, founder of Mashman Ventures, and I'm really excited to be sharing this information with you today. For those of you who are unfamiliar with my work, I run a public relations firm, Mashman Ventures, that specializes in helping people create, maintain, and scale their personal brands. I've built my own personal brand from being virtually inexistent in a digital obscurity several years ago in 2018 to the place that it is today. I've had the opportunity to speak on stages, to travel around the world, and the United States, the country, because of my personal brands, work with thought leaders, work with musicians, artists, authors, business people, and a whole variety of other fields to help them increase their results. So we really focus on a holistic approach, an organic approach. And one of the things that people have a struggle with when it comes to their personal brands is visualizing the long-term picture, visualizing what is the point of even spending the resources or spending the time to build my personal brands, which is why I wanted to record this training and speak about the hierarchy of personal branding. Now, if you're watching this video, that does tell me that you are at least interested in building your personal brand. That is something that you understand the power of, and I would encourage you before watching this video, if you have not already, to go read my book, Personal Branding, a Manifesto on Fame and Influence. This is going to be one of the few plugs. I'm not going to run some shortcut in the middle and try to sell you something, but I would 100% recommend you read my book, Personal Branding, a Manifesto on Fame and Influence, which is available on Amazon. Now, when it comes to the hierarchy of personal branding, yesterday was the King of England's coronation. Now, the one thing that the United Kingdom has is a hierarchy. Now, it is actually a monarchy, yes, but if you look at the royal family, there is a hierarchy to who is in charge, who is next in line. You have the king, you have the queen, you have the prince, the princess, the dukes, all of that good stuff that truthfully, I don't know a whole lot of information about, but regardless, there's a hierarchy. If you look at your job or look at a company, a corporation, you have the founder, you have the executive, you have the CFO, the CTO, you have the board members, you have the managers and directors, then you have the employees, all the way down to the person who's the janitor. And so all in our society, there is a hierarchy. We look at the government, we look at politics in the United States, you have the president, then you have the senators, the congressmen, and then on a local level as well. And the interesting thing is your personal brand and personal brands in general have a similar hierarchy, which I want to break down and also help you understand how you can also leverage the hierarchy of personal branding to grow your personal brand and to understand and to visualize the place that you want to get to. So I have a whiteboard. I'm going to be using this whiteboard to write down the titles. I would 100% highly recommend that you have pen and paper in front of you because I'm going to breeze through. However, this video is likely going to be 30 minutes long, so it's going to be rather intensive training. So number one, I want us to think about the 4 stages of learning, how somebody learns new information, and there are 4 of them. Now, you have the unconscious incompetent. You have somebody that is not aware of what they're doing and they're not doing anything right. Then you have the conscious incompetent. The person is aware that they don't know something. They're aware that they could change. They're aware that something isn't necessarily going correctly. Then you move to the conscious competent, the person that is aware that they know what they're doing or is aware of a problem. Once you're aware of a problem, you can then go and solve that problem. And then finally, you have the unconscious competent. So you have the person that is so programmed for success, so programmed for results, they don't even think about it, they just do. And I want you to get to the point eventually where you are an unconscious competent. You are just building your personal brand without even thinking about it. You're going and entering into opportunities that are going to progress you forward without even thinking about it. And that is the point that everyone should get to. But interestingly enough, the first stage of personal branding in the hierarchy, and when I say hierarchy, number 6 is going to be the highest point. So I want you to view it 1 as the bottom of a pyramid, right? And then you have 2, the next layer, so on and so forth. So the first is an unconscious incompetent. Now I'm going to write this down really quick, but the unconscious incompetent is somebody that is not aware that they have a personal brand. They are unaware that they have something at their disposal. Now again, if you've read my book, if you followed me, you know that your personal brand is you. It is who you are, and you will have your personal brand till the day you die, and you've had your personal brand from the moment you were born and conceived. Now the thing is, most people are unconscious incompetents. They do not realize that they have something that they can build. They go through the motions, they work their 9 to 5, they go throughout their life, and they think, I'm going to be a normal person that doesn't really do anything to distinguish myself. I'm not going to speak about my career to friends or family. I'm not going to try to market myself. But the thing is, they're not thinking about these things necessarily consciously. They're just doing it. They're going through the motions. Now, this does not get you any results with your personal brand, so I'm not going to spend much time with it. But the fact is, you're watching this video so you know you're not an unconscious incompetent. You could very well be a conscious incompetent, I say that in all due respect, but that means that you want to learn how to grow your personal brand. The second one is the friends and family. Now, if you think about why you want to build your personal brand, why do you want to get people to know about you? You want to get people to know about you so you can get a result, or so you can drive results to something you care about. So take a realtor, for example. Local real estate agents are a fantastic example of this. They want to sell more houses, but they're only known to their small circles, especially the people who are just starting out. They're known by their family members. Hey mom, guess what? I got my real estate license. Then they talk to their brother and they're saying, hey Joe, I got my real estate license, man. I can now sell houses, which is phenomenal. You have to start somewhere. But if you're only in that level to where your friends and family know you, how can you ever exceed and get business elsewhere? And if you want to build your personal brand to drive awareness towards a cause or a nonprofit or something that you care about, how can you expect that to exceed your friends and family and to really mean anything? And now this right here on a local level, going back to the real estate agent, have you ever heard the example of a realtor is obviously somebody who helps somebody buy or sell a house, but they say, man, my family member just sold a house and they didn't go with me. They chose a different real estate agent. Do you know how painful and hurtful that must be for that person? Because when you're selling a house, you know, that's thousands and thousands of dollars that is a transaction, and that's nothing to qualm about, especially as real estate agents rely on that commission check. But imagine you have a family member, and that family member chooses to go with somebody else outside of you, and that is because they might not even think of you as an authority. They might not think of you as that person that they could have went to, that person who they could have presented and done business with. And so a lot of times people stay in this category of the friends and family, but if it's somebody that already knows you, are they viewing you as an expert? Are they viewing you as that same person that you went to high school with? The same little kid that picked his nose at the party in 6th grade. You know, and so those are different things that you have to think about, because a lot of personal branding is perception. A lot of building it is perception. How are people perceiving you, and how can you direct and influence that narrative? And so most people in life stay in these two categories, and these two categories do not generate or garner any results that can be scalable, any results that can be particularly helpful towards something. The third category, however, is where you have a little bit of a smaller amount of people that move up, right? You have most people are in this category, and then you have a good amount of people that are in this category, the professionals, the career people that, you know, they go up to their job and they might extend and do business with people outside of their friends and family, but it's only because the business gave them leads. So now we think about number 3, and this is where you have the local hero. The local hero. So the local hero is somebody that is on a minor level of a city, of a town, of a district. Somebody that is well known on a little bit of a larger level, and this is where they have more credibility, they have more trust. Going back to the realtor, that realtor is now getting signs around the city. They are talking and showing up to business networking events. They're actively shaking hands. They are passing out business cards. They are leveraging social media, and on their social media, using the geotag and the geo information to say, hey, I'm the real estate agent in Little Rock, Arkansas. Hey, I am the real estate agent in Miami, Florida. I am the person that you need to go with that can present you with a solution to your problem or can help you get X, Y, and Z results. The local hero can be the mayor of your town. It could be the person or the lawyer who has the billboard. If you think about it, I know growing up we had in Jacksonville, Florida, we had Farrah and Farrah, Harold and Harold. And it's like those people had billboards everywhere, but every single person in Jacksonville, which was a city of 800,000 people, knew who those two guys were. So they were automatically the people that if, hey, I was in an accident, who am I going to call? I'm going to call those people. And even 5 years later, not living in Jacksonville, Florida, I'm able to say, those are the people that would always show up on the commercials after school. When you would get home and you would turn on the TV, they would have the car accident, hurt back, all that jazz. But they are the people who have results. Another example would be somebody who is trying to run a nonprofit that is successful. If you are wanting to launch a nonprofit, any person that you help is obviously great. I'm not trying to diminish that. But if you want to help, let's say, at-risk youth in your city, are you helping one or two youths? No. You want to partner with the city, and you want to be able to reach and help more people, because at scale, that is where results are, right? You scale your results, you get more success, the momentum gets established, it gets easier. The local hero is on the state, city, or not state, but the city level. And I actually just hinted at the next. So you have the unconscious incompetent, which is just the normal person, the friends and family, the professional, but not really the public figure or the authority. Then you have the local hero that is well known in a city, a town, a district. Then you have the state representative. Now, when I say state representative, I am not saying that this is the political state representative for your state. However, that is an excellent example to give. The reason I say that is if we look at how the government functions, you have the local government, which would be the mayor, the judges, the people that you would vote for in your local elections, that you would put in a place of power and authority to govern some of those minor things of filling in the potholes or attracting businesses to a new city. But the state representative is on a higher level. They're able to represent their community on the government and the state government. They're able to have a little bit more of a higher say and determine laws that are going to affect not just their city or state, even though that's the district that they're representing, but talking about laws that could affect the state as a whole. Another good example is, I know when I was in the music industry, you would have a lot of pride in where somebody was from. Not just the city where you're from, but maybe the state that you're representing, right? Florida is a great example. Florida, I was in Jacksonville, Florida, that's my home city. A lot of times rappers would not just say Miami-Dade, or they wouldn't just say I'm from Jacksonville, or especially not Tampa, no offense to Tampa folks, but they would say I am from Florida, I'm a Florida boy. There was a level of pride. But then if you were to go to the state level and have conversations, every single person took pride in that representative, because that rapper is a representative of that state. Therefore, they're able to go out and then go to the next level, which is national, and they're able to influence more people and represent the state as a whole. And so this isn't just about the state level, but you need to be known by everybody throughout your state. And this is where business owners or lawyers, are you just a lawyer in your local city, or are you actually putting billboards around the rest of the state? If you're running a business, and I know that this is about personal branding, but it's the same thing with a business. That same principle applies. You have not really so much the unconscious incompetent with a business, but you have a business that only friends and family know about, then you have a local business, then you have a state business, and you're able to expand there. That is another way you could look at this. And so with the state representative, that is a high level that very few people get to, because a lot of people stay in these first three categories. The third is excellent for somebody who just wants to get by and have, you can still have a lot of success being the local hero, but it's not the celebrity. It's not the level of celebrity. You can be a local public figure, but you will not be a celebrity. And that is a huge difference. And there's a lot of competition online of trying to distinguish, hey, is this a normal person? Is this somebody that I can trust as an authority? is this a public figure, like somebody that has a little bit more attention, a little bit more respect, a little bit more notoriety, or is this a celebrity? Is this somebody that, even though it's a D-list celebrity, has a lot of things going for them? Because then you have the association aspect. Do you want to be associated with a nobody, or do you want to be associated with a celebrity? Now, this is not saying what you should or shouldn't do, but one is going to get you results that the other does not. Think that, or take that into account rather. So you have the unconscious incompetent, the friends and family, the local hero, the state representative, and then you have the national personality. The national personality. Now, this is a little bit more of a noticeable jump. And this is where literally very few people ever get to. This is a point that a lot of people want to be at, but a lot of people do not get to. Now, for this example, I'm going to once again reference a politician, and I'm going to use Barack Obama as an example. Now, if you're familiar with his political history and how he started out to become the president of the United States, what he did is he started as a senator for the state of Illinois. Okay, he started as a senator for the state of Illinois. He did not start as the senator of Illinois, one of the two. He started as one of the internal districts. Then what he did is he ran and he went into the Senate. So he was one of two people to go to Washington, D.C. and represent Illinois in the National Congress. Okay, but you see how he took that one step, climbed up, went to a higher level, more attention, more news, more press, more notoriety. Then he was able to be the state senator and eventually president. So if we were to look at that, the president is a national figure. It is a national personality. Now that also blurs with the line of international, which I'll get to here in a minute, as you can probably guess by now where I'm going with this. However, if we were to look at other celebrities, look at other people that are well known, I was actually scrolling through Instagram the other day and somebody posted that they were at a concert for some singer that was over in Europe. And I'm thinking to myself, I've never even heard of this chick, but there was an entire arena that was filled out, a 50,000 person arena. And I went and saw that this person had 3 million followers and apparently is like a huge celebrity over there. And I'm thinking, wow. So that is a perfect example, because just because somebody is extremely famous in America, in the United States, doesn't necessarily mean that they are an international icon. International icon, which is number 6. Now, the reason I'm not spending a lot of time on number 5 is because these lines blur. The lines between the national personality and the international icon blur quite a bit. And the reason being is if you are already getting the level of press, the level of attention, the following that would be required to be considered somebody at a national level, and that you could go anywhere in your country and be recognized, is at that point you would naturally be getting an overflow from people from other countries. So for example, if you're in the United States, a lot of businesses, a lot of business gurus, a lot of speakers and authors and etc., all that stuff that gets thrown around, they have audiences based out of South America. They have audiences based out of the Middle East. They have audiences based out of India. They have audience in Europe, and they can go anywhere and have somebody that they could meet. When I went and traveled to France several years ago, I had somebody that I knew over there. Now, I'm not saying that at that level, it's like one person, you're an international icon. However, it all starts with one, and then it grows and grows and grows, and then you have international outlets, you have international media, you have international associations that begin recognizing you and begin talking about you, and the entire point of building out your personal brand is to make it easier for opportunities to find and discover you. And so at this level of an international icon, we can think about Kim Kardashian. Barack Obama went from the national to the international very quick. Becoming president, you're automatically going to pretty much go from national to international overnight. But we have Kim Kardashian, we have a lot of the rappers that you would follow, like Drake. Drake is an international icon. We can think about Ronaldo. We can think about Muhammad Ali was an international icon. We could think about even historical figures that are internationally known. For example, One of the things and one of the people that I use in my book is Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ would be considered an international icon because everybody knows him. And that's the fascinating thing. We could look throughout history and notice that even in Hollywood back in the 1950s and 60s, you had people such as Alfred Hitchcock, which would have eventually had to go from the unconscious and competent to the friends and family and make the conscious decision to start building out his personal brand. You see, that is the big difference here. You have the conscious decision. If you write anything down, I want you to write this down. You have to make the conscious decision to build your personal brand. And some of the ways that you could do that is to start at this level of friends and family and say, hey, I'm going to go from this level and I'm going to become well-known locally. I'm also going to be sharing and looking for opportunities to speak, looking for opportunities to shake hands, looking for opportunities to collaborate, to get on podcasts, to get into the media. And you realize that you go and you start from, if I was to draw a really quick graph, you start from here, and then you go and you go and you go and you go, and then poof, you go all the way up. And that is how a lot of people are going viral. And rather than hitting the international mark, which is right here, they stay national and then they plateau off and they stay at where they're at. Now, I'm not saying that you'll hit the international icon. Every person has different goals. But I would say in the bare minimum, and I always encourage my clients to go and become that celebrity, but that is a level of notoriety, a level of fame, a level of accomplishment that requires a lot of sacrifices and a lot of work, and that's something I am personally working towards. But what I will say is you should at the least be the local hero. If you want to be that realtor, you need to have every single person in your city, the city of Miami, the city of El Paso, the city of San Diego, the city of New York, the city of Chicago, and obviously different cities are larger, it might require more effort, but you should have every single person talking about you and saying you need to go work with that person. You need to have people that are going out and talking about how great you are and some of the ways that you've helped them. Or even if you've never worked with them personally, they are so attached to who you are and they've been following you online. They see your life, they see what you're interested in, they see your characteristics and the personality that you have and the success you have and your professional accolades that they feel comfortable enough making a referral although they've never worked with you. This is essential to growing a successful personal brand. If you think about the international icons that you know and follow, do you only follow them for their profession? No, you follow Drake because of who he is, not necessarily because he's a rapper, because there's a progression of talking about their career, right? So Kim Kardashian is another example. Do you just know her for, keeping up with the Kardashians, or do you know her as Kim K? That is the difference. So being the local hero, they might know you as the realtor, and then it will be your job to start distinguishing yourself from every other realtor and showing bits and pieces of your life, getting into the community, giving back, sharing your interests so other people can connect and latch onto those similar interests and can latch on with who you are and connect with you. So to summarize, we have the hierarchy of personal branding, which also applies to businesses. If we were to look at businesses, you have the startup, well-known locally, you have the business that's statewide, international business, or national business, and then international business. This is the same thing with your personal brand. You have the person who doesn't even know what they're doing, to the person that wants to share with their family and friends, to the person that is well-known locally in their city or town, the state, which is self-explanatory, the national personality, and the international icon. So visualize this as you're progressing. Where are you right now? What category, right? Bob Proctor talked about how, in order for you to change, you have to recognize where you're at. Are you in the friends and family category? Does your family even know what you do? Do your friends even know what you do? That's a question that you should probably be asking yourself right about now. Do your friends, if you were to ask them, if a stranger was to go up and say, hey, I saw that you're connected with Isaac, I know you're friends with him, what does he do? And if your friend cannot answer that, you are failing. If your friend cannot, your best friend, even though you might not do business with your best friend should at least be able to say what you do. Your mom should be able to explain it. I know early on, my mom didn't know what the hell I was doing. My grandmother didn't know what I was doing. And I talked to them about it and said, this is what I do. And so over time, my mom's able to now say, this is what he does. My grandmother was able to say, this is what he did. This is what he does. And so that is something that you need to start perceiving. You need to be consciously building and directing your personal brand, because at the end of the day, you're growing it regardless. But are you in control of the boat, or is the boat just drifting? That's what I will leave you with. Now, I appreciate you sticking until the end of the training. I don't know what time this was. I wasn't really timing it. But what I will say is that if you have an interest in working with me and learning more about the specific strategies that you need to take to go from A to B to C to D to E and F, send me a message. Really easy to access. Google my name, connect with me on a social media platform, visit my company, Mashman Ventures, check out some of the testimonials we have also on YouTube. And I would love the opportunity to work with you. And if maybe you don't want to, lock arms with somebody in a public relations firm or a consultant just yet, in the bare minimum, pick up a copy of my book, Personal Branding and Manifesto on Fame and Influence, across Amazon, other publishers as well. And with that being said, much love.